Hey guys, how's it going? Anthony Muthurajah back with a new video lesson for you all. Before I get to the actual lesson, do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and do consider joining the channel if you're looking for more than just what's being posted on the free platform. All right, and if you're looking for ways to support what I do, you can find all the options in the description down below. All right. I'm not one to usually do this a lot, but I do plan to do this a lot more than I did when I started the channel, right? So whatever support that comes my way, it's greatly appreciated. And yeah, I just hope to keep doing this for as long as I can and for as long as I have material. Thankfully, I haven't run out yet. Speaking of running out of material, right? I was just combing through some old videos on the channel that I've already posted. And there was one video that caught my mind. I'm going to put that right there for you to check out, okay? Why it caught my mind was because I was playing that bass line completely wrong, okay? So the bass line in that video that I'm actually demonstrating sounds like this. From Jaco. That's what I initially thought was the bass line when I first heard that. And years later, as I was playing this particular live version of Teen Town a lot on gigs, I started realizing I was getting tired, and then eventually I started doing something like this. And then I was just like, that actually sounds a lot closer to what Jaco did on that live version. And naturally, I started digging deeper into a lot of the things I learned before, my bass lines that I transcribed and all the grooves I was learning and kind of vibing off of overall. And then I quickly realized there was one thing that really sets all these players apart from one another. Guys like Jaco, from a Stanley Clarke to a Sheree Reed to a Victor Wooden to a Jeff Berlin. They could play in the same key, probably along the same groove or whatever. But there's always a very distinguishing factor to the way they sounded, okay? No Choice is obviously one. One thing that Jaco did a lot. That kind of a thing is so Jaco. So if I even try to... It's like, okay, very Jaco, right? And then... one thing that I ended up picking up from Jaco, and I kind of morphed it with James Jamerson, is where I would play like... So I would palm mute and I would do all these kind of things. So just even sitting down and trying to think of words to describe what actually it is that distinguishes each player from another, I came to this very interesting conclusion in my head. So I wanted to share that with you. And I think the primary difference is the way they played in terms of the number of notes, as in playing just what's needed or playing even below that, underplaying, and then overplaying. So it's an extremely delicate balance between the three. I would say three, because if a bass line calls for me to go 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm doing all these extra little things on my right hand. That's purely to give you a context of a groove. 3, 4, 3, 4. If I took that away, 3, 4, and then that's a little bit more. I'm still not overplaying. I'm still playing what's needed primarily. And then I try to add more than I need to, just to see where I stand and hear where I stand. And then I start coming up with these fill ideas that I normally wouldn't play. And that's because I'm giving so much space for this simple bass line to exist. Okay, so there can be good and bad moments, but what I started realizing is that this was a process I took myself through very unconsciously, in the sense that I would just naturally do a lot of these things. And a lot of that comes from just a lot of experience of playing and listening to music. But then if I actually want to be specific and say, what is it exactly that helps me play this way? What is it that makes me go, like if I take a song like... So let's say I do Too Hard. So I'm able to add these extra notes in there. For many, that might sound like overplaying. For me, I feel like I'm just trying to bring more flair and flavor to the existing bass line, which is great. Because if you had to look at things on the grand scheme, right, of where you need to play bass for a long period of time, where you're just playing, or that's just like me just goofing around now, trying to come up with a bass line now. Let's say if I had something like this. I really don't know how to fill in the gaps here. Maybe there. But I did that by holding onto a note. Again. So I'm kind of playing over the blind line. But then if I went... Okay, so in that moment, maybe as a bass player, you'll be like, woo! But that was one moment. I cannot do that over and over again, right? So what I want you to do is the next time you're on a gig or the next time you're sitting with a backing track, I want you to establish one bass line, okay? And try to repeat it as best as you can. And then I want you to create deviations on either end of the spectrum where you're playing more and then you're playing lesser than what you've established. The more you do this, you start to develop an innate ability to be creative with your bass lines, to be creative with existing bass lines, and to compose bass lines as well. It's one of the things that I tried experimenting with in my second record. The opening track is in 3/4, for instance, but I want to have these very funky yet weird elements of the bass line. So I went... Right? So in that, I'm playing over like 4 chords and I have this grouping kind of thing happening. Predominantly short notes, but some long notes here and there. But that is the bass line I wrote behind the melody. And when the solos start, I kind of open it and relax a lot more. So composing bass lines is usually a hard thing to do for any bass player, right? So the next time you're in a situation where you're in a jam band or you need to just create something, think of it this way. Establish something and go on either side. Overplay, underplay, and then find what works for you and the song and the music overall. All right, I hope you get something out of this, and I'll see you guys in the shed until the next one. Peace.